Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the parrot. Parrot TV.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony Rivecchio's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, and how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony Rivecchio, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University. Good morning and welcome to World Inkers Network, episode number 262. Today, and I am Dustin Pickering, as usual, your noble and honest host. I almost forgot to tell you who I am. Maybe you already know by now. So today we have on episode number 262, Jyotirmaya Thakur. She is a bilingual Indian writer, literary critic, peace activist, and multi-prize winner. She is a global goodwill ambassador of peace for many organizations. Her more than 40 literary works are characterized with a high degree of creativity and authenticity. By the virtue of her intelligence, skill, and imagination, she infiltrates human psychology and arrests the most evasive and invisible states of mind. Moments of joy, sorrow, tedium, frustration, and jubilation, and very magically fascinating imagery. Yet she is not confined to states of mind. She has rather exceeded them to mature beauties brought forth by the changing seasons and their impact on the human soul, because she is fully infatuated with nature. However, she does not theorize or intellectualize about nature as some of the Romantic poets did. Being a social activist, she is a true defender of many social issues like women's emancipation, peace promotion, and religious endurance. She is also a true fighter against racial discrimination as regards color, race, sex, and religion, and the like. Yet she has not made her poetry a domain for propagating her ideologies. She rather lays much emphasis on the issue of developing her artistic craftsmanship. Therefore, she excelled in all types of poetry, old and new. Her poetry prosperously appeals to her readers' senses and thoughts because it entertains a higher level of sensuousness, and that the reader can feel, touch, taste, see, smell, and read and hear all of the ideas she expresses as intimately and as if they were already baked. Not sure what that means, baked. Maybe you can explain that for us, Jyotirmaya. Thank you for joining us on the program. Maybe I read that wrong, but thank you so much for joining us today. How are you? I believe you are on mute. Can you unmute your mic? There you go. Thank you so much. It happens.
Yes, it was on your side. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're having an excellent afternoon where you're located currently. So tell us a little bit about that experience of switching, environments. Is that poetically challenging for you?
No, not at all. I live in a very beautiful vicinity in Seven Oaks. It's very close to the estuary, as well as we have small hills and lots of gardens. Lots of gardens. I'm filled with parks, and it's considered to be, Kent is considered to be the Garden of England. So I'm in a very beautiful place, and I'm in Hillingdon Rise. So gradually it rises, and it's a hilly place, but we also have the estuary. So it's filled with birds, the birds that come to the lake. And of course, we have small peaks of mountains, and we have forests all around us. So it's a beautiful place to live in. It's like being a part of nature. I always feel a part of nature all the time.
Very
Even when I'm
wonderful
looking out of
experience.
my window, even when
Right.
I'm looking out of my window, I can see the bare trees. And we all feel the same way after autumn, shedding all our leaves, shedding all our worries, shedding all the beauty maybe from inside, the sadness, whatever we wish to. And
Hmm.
we should do that sometimes. Learn from nature, to walk away
Absolutely.
from our past. Yeah, and not literally, yeah, even metaphorically or even simply.
Hmm.
We carry the burden of our past so much that we cannot take a new path. Sometimes we should be adventurous and learn from nature. New leaves can only sprout
It's
if
so
we let the
true.
dead leaves fall.
It's
So
a lot of
try.
lessons. Are you familiar with the work of Henry David Thoreau? I'm thinking of a book of his called Faith in the Seed that sort of imparts that kind of wisdom
No,
that you
no,
can learn.
I'm sorry,
You
but I
know,
would love to. Now that you've
Henry David
mentioned, it's going
Thoreau.
to be one in my collection of books to buy. Yes. Thank
It's
you.
a recent work.
Thank you for,
Excellent.
uh,
Oh, always glad to share
yeah.
some literary influences of my own. I grew up on Thoreau, so it was really, and he's American. He's an American legend. So what do you think? Does nature impart a good mood for you? And you go out in the autumn and it's there's it's cool breeze. Does that inspire a lot of writing from you, or how do you feel inspired? When does that moment come for you mostly?
Um, you know, it comes sometimes early in the morning when I wake up and I'm able to see outside my window while having a small cup of tea or maybe a big mug of tea in winters.
Hmm.
And when I look out, I normally draw the curtains and let the sun in if it is there. If it's cold and damp like winter, today it's a sunny day. But if it's
Hmm.
not, even if it's like very breezy or cloudy, it doesn't matter because we all have our moods. It doesn't change my mood, but it enhances me or helps me psychologically to embrace whatever
Hmm.
mood I am in. It's just like weather. They are like weathers. They will go. They will go away. They're not there
Wow.
forever. So
Right.
these fleeting moments of unhappiness or gloom or doom, you might say, which keeps
Hmm.
coming, does remind me that they are all temporary. We are temporary too. So why not
Right.
enjoy the moment that we have and let's live in it rather
So
than trying to bicker and compare. Doesn't make sense.
right. I'm
It
curious.
never
You
takes
sort of
away, it makes you worry more, and worries don't help at all.
right in your bio, you define yourself to a degree as a not necessarily opposing the romantic view of nature, but as sort of maybe questioning it. I'm curious how that plays into your work.
Uh, you see, I don't romanticize it. I actually
Hmm.
take it as a reality of life.
Okay.
They have been here before humanity, and they will be there even if we are wiped out. So
Yeah.
they have a history, they have a life longer than us, and they have been witness of time, just like poetry is.
Hmm.
So basically, for me, I don't romanticize them. I do consider them as a living being just like us, and I learn from them. I get inspired by them.
Hmm.
And there are many things. I just feel a part of them sometimes. that I'm here just for a short time, but they have a very long history, and they have a lot to teach us, and we should respect them. And we have to respect them. If we want to survive, we have to respect nature first and foremost, which we are not doing, which we
No, we're
don't
not.
do. Yeah,
I agree.
we
Yeah.
make it good. Yeah, so in a way, I feel we are not doing justice to the surrounding around us.
Mm-hmm.
If we cannot make it more beautiful, we should not destroy it. That's what we are doing. In the
Yeah.
name of
Morning.
progress,
Mm-hmm.
we are destroying nature. That is not, there's nothing romantic about it. It's more like
Right.
we are more materialistic, we want more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to learn from them. To get more, you have to give as well.
Right.
There are many
Absolutely.
trees which die and new ones come up. So basically, we have to learn that we are there for a very minuscule time on this planet. Let's live with dignity and let others live too, and
Absolutely.
especially
How does
nature.
how does Kent maintain that the beauty that you described? I'm curious about that. Do they do a lot of kind of impactful environmental action, or is it just naturally that way, and they don't tamper with it? How do they do that?
You see, there is a they do look after the vicinity around us. They do clean the grass, or they do cut it in time when before the spring will come.
Mm-hmm.
They do maintain it, but there is also wilderness. They leave the forests. They leave there are certain certain places, the woods, they are not tampered with. There are wires around it, and even human beings cannot enter that forest, which is good
Mm-hmm.
because then nature is free to go wild.
Right.
And wilderness has its own beauty. If you
Mm-hmm.
see, if like when I walk, I sometimes go out of the way, or I don't go stay on the main road. I like the bypass. I like the back paths, or there are many places where only dogs can be taken, for that, dog walkers. And
Mm-hmm.
if you go to those places, they have a certain beauty which is untampered, very pure, very pristine, and with nature, with weather, they change and they curve and they die naturally. So, in a way, we should leave a lot of them, lot of forests just as they are. Whenever I see,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I'm a great fan of the 90-year-old great environmentalist, and of course, The Green Planet on BBC always. And
Mm-hmm.
I am just amazed at the beauty that David Attenborough captures.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so thrilled that even he can make a difference. And he has been making a difference even at this age. And he inspires me a lot. And I watch the
Mm-hmm.
water, the life in the water, the life in the forests, in the Amazon forest, in the rainforest. And I see what man has done in the
Mm-hmm.
very civilized places. In New Zealand, when I see the beautiful nature, the mythical, or Japan islands, I am just like, I am enchanted actually. I
Mm-hmm.
am in a magical world altogether. Although I just see it on the TV, imagine me being there, how thrilling it would be.
It's
So
it's beautiful.
we
I
should
love
leave.
water and trees. Beautiful stuff.
Yes,
It's
yes.
amazing. Very relaxing. How do you pull like from that psychological observations as you mentioned? I'm curious, like you kind of touched on it a little bit about the moods, the storms being sort of like, bad moods in a way, things like that. So where do you derive your psychological insight in your work from?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a euphony. It's not like that it is always there.
Hmm.
That there are times of contemplation. I would rather call them it. I don't call myself alone ever. I actually
Hmm.
love that loneliness. I actually, in a way, nurture those moments of mine and
Hmm.
try to contemplate being an Indian, I think this might be there. I asked the divine, what is the purpose
Mhm.
of my birth? Why am I born? I'm a part, I'm very small, I'm just a human being. So there must be a purpose still in the Almighty's mind for my birth here. And
Mhm.
those are the moments that I wonder, does the small plant, does the weed ever ask that? Being human, we have definitely a mind and a subconscious mind, and maybe something that makes us psychologically question our very birth and identity. And we don't know. I still don't know. And I keep wondering, when I'm in nature, I keep wondering,
Right. Mhm.
does nature ever ask? They just exist. So simple.
Mhm.
Why can't I just be simple and not ask this question to myself? Just
Mhm.
exist and be in the moment and just let it be. But we can't. We have a very
Mm.
complex mind.
Right.
And sometimes I just want to be like them, quiet and, just be
Just live and
solitary, just
exist.
exist.
Mhm.
But that never satisfies me. So that is very psychological tension within me,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
complexity. Why have I been born? There must be a reason why God has put me on this earth. So maybe I'm exploring still. I'm exploring that aspect when I'm
Mhm.
alone. It's meditation, basically. Meditating,
Absolutely.
mindfulness, being, you know,
Mhm.
observing and trying to find out.
What drives your quest for knowledge? That's
And
it's
still
a,
it's
it's a very
puzzling to me.
yeah.
It
Same
puzzles
here.
me a
Yeah.
lot.
What's in it for us? You know.
But then maybe one day I might find a solution. The hope is there. The hope
Yeah.
ticks on.
Just the continuous questions and what seemingly no answers to a lot of those questions. They just
Yeah. It's
continuously generate more questions. It's an interesting conundrum.
yeah.
How do you
It's a
stay
quest.
active
It's
and
a deep
sane in that
quest. And poetry
process?
actually satisfies.
Yeah, absolutely, it's part of that jotting down, those thoughts is part of
Yeah.
like letting go, and then at the same time encouraging that energy to come. But at
Yes.
the same time, it's letting go of enough of it that you can live in peace. Really, I mean, because it can be torment in some ways. That constant quest for answers to things
How
that
do you?
don't seem to have answers.
Yes.
So what moment do you feel like you have the sharpest inspiration in your poetry career? What you've published quite a
Yes.
bit. So
It's more
how
like a.
what moment? Hmm. I think
There
we.
are there are actually different kinds. For me, poetry is like, yeah, it's basically, there are many kinds that I write on. There are some which
Okay.
is based on reality, the global vision or the reality. There are some which are very mystic, which I said my mind questions me, and then I'm like a mystic. And metaphysical poems are there.
Hmm.
Then there are some which are Sufi poems. There are moments when I was younger, and still, I don't think I'm very old, but still those moments which I have been, when you think about love, it's not
Hmm.
only about a conjugal or a couple's love, it's far more than that. It's far
Hmm.
more. For me, it's more like Sufi, more like a search of my own being, because I believe that you should love yourself first, then only you can love anybody else. It's just like, unless you're independent, you cannot be correlated or intertwined or anything. I have my own way of thinking, and there are nature poems, of course. They are not very romantic, but they are
Hmm.
seasonal. They're about seasons. They're about months. They're about sometimes about those moments which I have picked up with them, or which I have become one with them, especially during the twilight or the sunset, which which actually even it's just when the birds are going home, or where are they going, and then I wonder, I'm sitting at one place. And look at them. They go every day in search of food for their family or for anything, and they go back home. What a thrill it is to see them collect each one. And the group, the way they go is so wonderful. How do they know their way back home? I just wonder sometimes. So we are here just like birds, and one day we will go back naturally. I don't know where. The body, the physical body, the soul will go. It knows the roots. How do they know that? And that is the most magical moment for me, because then I can philosophize and I can think, rethink, and then I think, of course, there's a soul. There is something beyond this physical reality, because why do we feel connected to many things, many people? So there must be something beyond this very existence of us, some subconscious mind. And then, of course, there is I would say, transcendent poems also, where I see beyond, especially as a pacified, as a pacifist, as a peacemaker. And I wonder, do my words make a difference? But then I'm searching in the very poem. I feel that we relate our own self, we counsel our own self through these words. It's not about others. Normally people ask me, do you write for others? No, I write for myself.
Right.
Because, I write for myself. For me, it offers wisdom and knowledge, and I try to escape from the chaos and emptiness. And it gives voice to the deepest of my feelings. It gives a sense of life, a solace. And of course, I think a good poem is a vehicle of culture, of meditation about the self and the world, your place in the world. So these are the kinds that I write. And of course, I write being a social and cultural activist. I have written a series of poems on feminism. I would rather call it more womanism, because it has, it has gone beyond feminism.
Okay.
It's not about. Let me explain when I say that. It's not about the Western world. When I'm talking about womanism, I'm talking about the third world, developing world women. There's such a lot of difference. You can't compare. Where equality is not to be thought of. You are a subjugated person. You have to go within the societal, restrictions and reservation. Very few can dare to give voice to the injustices taking place, which according to them is not injustice. Freedom, they think of. That's the way they breathe. So slavery is inbuilt in them. And if it is what I mean is in a patriotic society, and it hasn't changed much. People may, say they get divorced and so on and on. But is the life of a divorcee normal? That's a question. And it is not. She is considered to be, in a way, culprit. She cannot, being a single mother, no one sympathizes with her. With a widow, it's different. But with a divorcee, a single parent, it's different. We're not talking about Mumbai. We're not talking about Bollywood. We're not talking about Madras. We're not talking about Kolkata. We are talking about the common mass of India here. So I have touched that womanism.
Interesting.
And I've talked about those people. I've talked about those women. And it's a series of three. In a series of three. So that's another aspect which I've touched on the cultural, as being an activist, feminist, and cultural activist. And of course, going beyond gender disparity, any discrimination. Yeah, any discrimination.
We're going to take a brief break, but we'll be right back with some of your poetry. So thank you so much. You're saying some interesting things, and I invite you to continue talking when we're just after this break. Thank you for joining World Inkers Network today. enjoy our momentary lapse of reason
I'm
here.
at that age
We're going to take a
where
brief.
I appreciate every sunrise, sunset, and all the hours in between. The age that causes me to notice the rhythmic timing of each breath. A reminder to thank God for granting me another day. I'm at that age where joints begin to stiffen and maybe I don't move as fluently as I did at 22. But I'm also at that age where I realize many didn't even get to see today. So I pray on bent and aching knee, thank you, God, for blessing me. I'm at that age where I notice my kids making some of the same mistakes that I did. And I remind myself that although never easy, I made it through and so will they. I'm at that age where I understand that money never buys true happiness. But I'm also at that age where I understand it definitely does help to have a bit. I'm at that age where six-pack abs still attract. But I'm also at that age where the behavior of a true gentleman will stop me in my tracks. I'm at that age where I know what it means to be a woman alone with how to treat my man. Beginning with listening as he explains what he needs from me. You see, there may be many similarities, but all men are not the same. I'm at that age where I realize good things don't come to those who wait. They go to those who educate, plan, sacrifice, work, and repeat over and over and over again. I'm at that age where I appreciate spending time with family, whether we're on good terms or not. Because I'm at that age where I'm losing so many people that I care about. I'm at that age where I'm bearing down on that age where there are more chapters of my life in past instead of future tense. But I'm at that age where I refuse to give up. I continue to climb, to create, to improve, love, and share, bearing my soul to the universe while honoring my ancestors, my God, and myself, while becoming the best version of me possible, because I'm at that age.
Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony Rivecchio's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, and how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony Rivecchio, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University. Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Welcome back to World Inkers Network, episode number 262. We have Jyotirmaya Thakur with us today. So, would you like to read us a couple of poems?
Yes, why not? Thank you. It's one of the later poems which I've written as I've grown older and more mature. It's Travel Light. Travel Light. I miss being in love but I miss most when I'm not myself, but pretending, pleasing others in selfless love. Sometimes I think I'm never going to write a poem again and be sentimental, but then there's a full moon smiling. In the salty, wet air of my ancestry, my sister peels a mango with her teeth, and I'm no longer writing political poems. There are mangoes in my memory, there are orchards in my memory, and favorite memories are restored. I'm alive and no longer writing elegies. I'm digging for meaning in metaphors, haunted by euphemism and synecdoche. The purpose is an insufficient approach. What's the margin of loss on words not of today? I'm getting older as I wake up to tidy up my past, and I'm buying smaller images to travel light. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you set your phone to landscape real quick? Like, because it's your phone tilted to the side, landscape, because it's only showing
Okay,
part of you. If you can do
okay,
that.
okay. Sorry about that. Yes,
Quite all right. Quite okay. You can read another one for us if you'd like.
yes. It's about the existence of a woman. Existence. It's easier as a woman not to exist, and yet existence does persist. Although she cannot fathom why, she cannot rest unless she will try to wonder why or how or when. Such is the way it's always been. It seems odd to exist at all as she orbits upon this global ball. Burden of being a woman is a dilemma, a paradox of intense feelings of trauma, puzzling thoughts without any reason. Analysis of rationality dwells in treason, sacrificed at the altar of domestic fusion. Taming the shrew is a trait of all seasons. Freedom of heart is never understood. Mindfulness is not an easy pursuit. Statistics of injustices inflicted on few, taken for granted as news persuades, economy of love on unfair distribution, biological differences are a real issue. Thank you.
Wow. Excellent. Says quite a bit in just a few words, few consolidated words there. Excellent poem. I love it. I love both of them. The first one has a lot of sensual imagery and feeling to it, that you really, the mango and everything else in that poem is really, and it says quite a bit. So it's a wonderful poem. Thank you so much for sharing both of those works with us. I'm curious, where did you hear about the program World Anchors Network?
Oh, I see. I heard it long before in a poetry forum, Poetry World and Vision.
Okay.
They had invited me as a global poet. Shikdar, I think he's from Bengal,
Hmm.
from Bangladesh, and he had talked about this network and
Okay.
the Parrot network, and he said I should send you my bio, like many people, and we would be featured. I just sent it because he asked me, he gave me, and I sent it to you. Again, I heard it through George Jonesy. I'm a member of RM3.
Okay. That's right.
One of the advisors, as well as one of the coordinators, and a poet, and a real pacifist goodwill ambassador for it.
Hmm.
And I believe in its ideology that the world does need to rethink its existence. I've been
Yes.
doing it for Global Peace India, Mumbai. The headquarters are there, and I'm representative in UK, in London.
Okay.
So, yeah, I have been a global ambassador for many magazines as well as for many countries. For example, Poland and so many other countries,
Hmm.
for Uganda, for Nigeria. and so on. And I try to do my bit, because writing is not going to help. As very nicely you said, yes, we have to go beyond it. Writing is, of course, but
Hmm.
we have to go beyond it. Not only do we have to think, but we also do a little bit. Whatever
Yeah.
we can do in our own way, small way,
Hmm.
which is, I think, an action is better than just precepts, many ideas.
Right.
They have to
Yeah,
be put to practice.
absolutely.
And one of my poem, I would say, Searching Beyond, we all search for the truth. But truth
Hmm.
is not black and white. Sometimes there's a gray shade to it. And we have
Yeah.
to go beyond that. Like we say, read between the words. So sometimes, we think the voiceless, we think, the poets think that we are giving voice to the voiceless or to the unheard.
Hmm.
But are we really hearing them properly? Are we
Hmm.
really interpreting, the interpretation is true? Or is it just a perception of trying to be someone good or someone to be in the limelight? We have to go beyond that. We have to empathize, not just sympathize. And that is what the difference is.
Hmm.
And this is what I try to do, right? But I also, in my own life, like Gandhi said, there was a very good story about him that when a smoker came to him and said, "Could you just counsel me that how I could stop smoking?" And he said, "Come back in a month." And when he came back in a month, he said, "Why did you not give me the same counsel that you're giving me now?" He said, "Well, I was smoking then." So what we say
Hmm.
is we have to try to stand up. Like, for example, there are issues going on in UK that uh, the rule maker is breaking the rules. So if you are
Yes.
going to be a counselor, if you're
Yes.
going to be a pacifist, if you're going to be the rule maker, you have to follow your own rules first. You have to be true to it. So I think we as
Absolutely.
well, as goodwill ambassadors, should be really good before we try to become goodwill people. We just
Hmm.
have to be good inside us, purify ourselves, and to search beyond. And that
Do
is
you,
what I feel
so in
the true
conclusion of
essence.
the program, would you like to say any final words of wisdom to the viewers in conclusion with the program?
Yes, I would. I would like to say that we are, the world is at a crossroad. The world is at a crossroad. And we can change. The transition period can be changed by our action, by our thoughts, not only our thoughts, but by our action. And
Hmm.
this is an identity crisis at the moment for all of us,
Hmm.
because we cannot separate ourselves from the poor people. We cannot discriminate. If we want us to survive, we have to survive as one. We have to consider all humankind as one. The COVID
Hmm.
has taught us that. It can travel so far. So the
Hmm.
virus does not know your skin, does not know your nationality, does not know any boundary. So we are living in a world where the boundaries does not exist. So being global, we have to think globally. What
Hmm.
I mean is to rise above our skin, our texture, our prejudices, and think of existence, and that human beings should learn that all life is important and worth thinking. Unfortunately, nowadays we see that, especially in the Western world, the majority of people abandon the house they should live in. What I mean by that is that the German philosopher Martin Heidegger claimed that the language is the home of being.
Hmm.
The language is the home of being, of existence. And what we are doing as a consequence of this is that the poem, that is the purest form of language, all the Indian scriptures, all the very high books, Vedas, mythologies, all of them are written in poetry. So poetry started long before, before, I
Mhm.
think, according to Hindu mythology or tradition, it was like the words coming from God, from heaven. The same way
Mhm.
in any of the religion. So it is beyond. I think poetry is beyond all religion or anything. And so being the
Absolutely.
purest form of the language suffers from some, abandonment, I think. Like the language, it remains home, but for an extremely small minority, and the poet, the philosopher, Diogenes alike, errs with his lantern. I think it's like a lantern through the crowded streets of this world, searching for more humanity. So that's what we all
Mm.
should do. We all should take our own
Mhm.
lanterns and search for the best of our humanity and be the
Absolutely.
best ourselves first before we start on that search. So before giving light to others, be enlightened ourselves. And it is through, I would say, it is through searching within you. It's all inside us. We all
Mhm.
know that. Somehow we are all inborn with that trait of what is good and what is bad. But we somehow, as we grow up, we are conditioned by this world, materialistic world, to think differently. We have to go back to that pristine stage where human beings lived in great harmony with this world and with all humankind. And then only our existence will be blessed. That is my, and we should read. Of course, that's one thing I would say. Before we write, we have to read. We have to
Absolutely.
read, and we have to read the best. Like you have suggested, I'm going to read him thoroughly. And I love people who suggest to
Mhm.
me the good work of the world. And thank you so much for having me on this
Absolutely.
beautiful platform.
You're welcome.
And thank you to the whole team for letting me speak whatever little I know in my humble way. And
But you're very
in these
eloquent,
modern
actually.
times, in these modern times, it is plagued by the handful of shamelessly rich liars of demagogues and fanatic
Hmm.
extremists. So
Absolutely.
we have to, as Homer, the first great Western poet did, relating the human odyssey, what I mean, its beauty, its heroism, but also its
Hmm.
hardship and misery. It's
Hmm.
a combination because of the wars, because we at the moment are inflicted by so many wars
Hmm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There is waging war everywhere. There's so much of hardships and misery because of the wars inside a country or even outside. We are not bothered. It's basically like Syria. Everywhere you find people fighting among themselves. And this is creating Afghanistan everywhere. Means whenever I hear it's war, it's brutality
Hmm.
coming up. And this is creating so much of misery all over. And in spite of, so many ages of apprenticeship and defined technical progress, we are still confronted with merciless cruelty, with hate, murder, death, which irrevocably appears to be human's destiny. And that is sad. That is really sad for me. But then I remember one of the great Austrian poet, Engelbert Bachmann, wrote, "Wars are not anymore declared, but continue. They are part of human life. And we just have to play a good role as poets, as pacifists, as peacemakers, bringing out, like the war poets did, the brutality, the hatred, the merciless, the cruelty of death, unprecedented death, and then by portraying these cruelty, we should make it a very powerful, thought provoking question, leaving it behind for people to think and rethink once again what is in reality progress. Are we progressing? Are we progressing?
It's a good
Are
question.
we progressing? Are
It's
we
a very good
progressing
question.
to humankind? Or are we going back? Are we receding towards cruelty before we were civilized? Or are we retreating our steps towards the brutal, uncivilized people. So let's think. Let's think about it. And let poetry be the witness of time, not just escaping from reality. Let's face it. And then embrace. Thank you, Dustin, for letting me speak.
Thank you so much. Very eloquent. You're remarkably eloquent. Thank you so much for your words and thoughts. And go back, everybody out there watching today. Thank you so much. Subscribe, like, and share, and comment on our stuff. And be sure to go back and watch that interview again. It's fabulous. Some wonderful thoughts presented. If you want to donate, anybody out there is free to donate to us at paypal.me/nyparrot. That's paypal.me/nyparrot. If you'd like to be a guest on the program, we'd love to hear from you. Just send me a paragraph bio, a headshot, a very clear headshot, if you can do that, as well as a couple of sample works from your literature, and send that to literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. You can buy our anthology. Series 1 and 2, The Literary Parrot, are out and available now. Series 3 will be out very soon. Keep a lookout for the World Inkers magazine as well. So if you haven't submitted to that, February 15th is the deadline. So get to work, get your pens rolling, get some writing done. Thank you. Have a wonderful afternoon. Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Are you curious about financial literacy? Then take a look at Professor Anthony Rivecchio's new program on Parrot TV. It's called Financial Focus University. This is an excellent program to learn about questions related to your own finances post-COVID, and how you can manage your money, how you can work with your tax situation. And this is an excellent and informative discussion of financial literacy. With Professor Anthony Rivecchio, your financial problems will be solved at Parrot TV with Financial Focus University.